Hey everyone, how is it going? A big welcome to another video. Happy New Year. So in this video, I will be explaining to you about the Greek gift sacrifice, and I will be giving an example from my own games where I used it to win. And in that game, it worked. So without further ado, I will be sharing my screen and I will be showing to you the position from that game. That game was played in October of 2021, so a few months ago in a tournament in England. So let me share my screen. Here we are. Okay, so this was the position, and my opponent's last move was the move bishop b7. This move was played so that the bishop protects the rook and so that my opponent does not lose a pawn after I play a takes b5, a takes b5, rook takes a8, bishop takes a8. So the bishop there is useful in defending the rook. However, the bishop has left from the c8 to h3 diagonal. So how did I take advantage of that? Well, in this position, I should have played actually. I did not play it immediately. I played it later on. I first took on b5 and then took on a8 and then played bishop takes h7. But that was a mistake because after the move a takes b5, my opponent could have went h6, and now there will only be a pawn down, for example, if I take on c4 and then take on a6. So what I should have done was immediately after the move bishop b7 to play the move bishop takes h7 check. And now if my opponent takes my bishop, I will go knight g5. And the king has four possibilities. All of them, though, lose because after king h8, it's simply a mate in 2. If king to g8, immediately it's again a forced mate because I'm threatening queen h7 mate. So if my opponent goes rook e8, many ways to win, but the simplest is this one. And after knight g8 blocking the check, I give a check with my knight and it's a mate. This shows the usefulness of having the rook on e1 because rooks belong to open files. And my rook on e1 is very useful. My bishop on c1 is also very useful despite being on its starting position because it defends the knight on g5. And you can see how useful the bishop is because bishops, unlike knights, are long-range pieces. So my bishop on c1 is very useful because here, if my opponent goes king h6, I can unleash a check with a double check actually with knight takes f7, which wins the queen and the pawn for the knight. So this is also completely winning. And what my opponent played in the game was queen g4, but I had analyzed this from the day before. This was an example of good opening preparation because after the move queen g4, I am lining up my queen against his king. So if he goes something like bishop c8 or queen c8 or queen d7, for instance, to attack my queen, I can just block the attack with knight e6. I'm giving a check to the king. If he goes to h7, it's mate on g7. He cannot go to h6, and if he goes to g5, for instance, queen g5 is a checkmate. So what else can my opponent do? My opponent in the game, they played f5, and here what white should have, what I played was queen h4. I had analyzed this in my notes from the day before. And my opponent wanted to defend against the threat of queen h7 because here I'm threatening a mate in 2 with queen h7 and rook e6. So my opponent went rook h8, and here I played the move rook e6. And rook e6 is a checkmate, and I managed to win this game. So this is an example where the Greek gift sacrifice worked. However, in order to fully understand about the Greek gift sacrifice, it's very important to calculate the consequences after black goes king g6 and you go queen g4, or sometimes you can go queen c2 check or queen d3 if queen g4 is not as effective. And also, two of the main ingredients for the Greek gift sacrifice to work are that black can no longer bring a bishop to f5, which can defend the h7 square, or they cannot bring a knight to f6, which will also defend the h7 square. So in this position, it would not work, and the reason is very simple. Bishop takes h7, king takes h7, knight g5, and now if my opponent goes king g8, they are completely winning, because if I go queen h5, then black can go bishop f5, and the bishop does a great job in defending the h7 square. White is a piece down for nothing. Black can then play bishop g6 to solidify their position and attack the white queen. So white's going to be completely lost. Another example where this would not work would be if here, after I went a4, if my opponent had went knight d7, then yes, the bishop no longer can go to f5, but is this enough to win? No, it is not, because my opponent can again go king g8, and after the move queen h5, there is the move knight f6, so the knight does a great job from f6. It attacks the white queen on h5, and it also protects the checkmate on the h7 square. So in this position, again, white is completely lost. So now I will be showing to you another game of myself where I did not manage to calculate correctly, and I ended up making a draw while I should have been winning. So the opening is more or less irrelevant, but here is the position. So my opponent has played the move bishop takes f3. That was his last move. And here I have a choice, and I took the wrong choice in this game. I took on d6, they took on e2, I took on c7, and they took back on c7, and I took on e2. This is not what I should have done. I should have played the move bishop takes f3. It was much better. Yeah, this is what happened in the game, but I should have played instead bishop takes f3. And here black is completely lost. I was completely winning against the high-rated player in this game, and it was a big pity I did not win, because I would go on 2 out of 2 in a 5-round tournament in London in 2019. So here the bishop is under attack, and if the bishop goes to e7, for instance, I had seen all this, I would take on b7, and then white is completely winning. I'm hitting the knight, and if knight a5, I can simply take on a8, and I'm completely winning. So instead, what I was afraid of was the move bishop takes h2, but I shouldn't have been afraid of it, because after king takes h2, knight g4, obviously it's not a good idea to take, because after my opponent takes, I go into complications, and I might as well be completely lost. After king g3, queen h4 at least looks scary, and king g1 allows queen h4. So the problem is my opponent is threatening a checkmate on h1, and if I go f4 or f3, then the move g3 is coming, and I am completely lost. So what I should have seen, though, is that to take the knight on g4 is not the only way to go. I could go king g3 perhaps, but the simplest and most effective way to win here is to go king g1, and now after the move queen h4, black is threatening a checkmate on h2. However, I have a very satisfactory defense, which is bishop f4. So now the bishop from f4 defends the checkmate. If my opponent moves the knight anywhere to attack my bishop with their queen, I could go bishop g3. And I anyway want to go bishop g3 just to attack the queen on the next move. I have plans of going queen takes b7 as well, maybe take the knight on c6. It's a completely winning position. I'm a piece up, and I have a better position. I was +5 here according to the computer, and it's a big pity I didn't manage to win this game. Eventually, it ended in a draw. So I have given you an example of my games where I won with the Greek gift sacrifice because I was accurate in my calculation, and I have given you an example of my own games where I did not win. I made a draw because I was afraid of my opponent making a Greek gift sacrifice against me, but I had not seen that I have a very satisfactory defense. This game was 2 years before, so hopefully it's a sign that I have learned and improved, and I will know more about the Greek gift sacrifice in the future. So it's very important to know about the Greek gift sacrifice, not only if you will use it to win yourselves, but also to be aware if your opponent can make the Greek gift sacrifice against you. So I hope you took value from this video. I hope you know now that if there is the move bishop f4, or if the bishop can go anywhere defending the h2 square, or the knight can go anywhere defending, usually it's on f3, but anywhere that defends the h2 square, then the Greek gift sacrifice probably is not going to work. There are always exceptions, of course. So I hope you took value from this video and you enjoyed it. Now, if you are a competitive chess player and want to fund your chess progress, which includes traveling to tournaments, which has expenses like transport if it's in another city or another country, accommodation if it's not a one-day event, also entry fees. You might also, if you're really serious about improving, want to hire a coach and to invest into chess books and courses, then you might be interested in starting a side hustle to earn an income online. If that's the case, go to the link in the description, insert your name and email, and watch my free introductory training where you will learn the 3 secrets my mentors use to generate a consistent income online and how you can do it too, even if you have no previous experience, qualifications, or no product to sell. If you are a subscriber, I will catch you at the next video. Thank you for watching and bye for now.